Busy time of year continues for Duke men's basketball. Head coach Jon Scheyer and his staff trying to put together a roster for next season. Transfer portal is off and buzzing, and we've got a lot to discuss on today's show.
Hi, everybody. Dick Vitale. Hey, make sure you listen, man, to Locked On Blue Devils with J.J. Jackson. He's awesome, baby.
You are Locked On Blue Devils, your daily podcast on the Duke Blue Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Locked On Blue Devils podcast. My name is JJ Jackson, and it is so great to have you here with us on Thursday, April 18th, 2024. Locked On Blue Devils is your one-stop shop where we discuss everything going on in the life of Duke athletics. We talk a whole lot about Duke men's basketball, and we bring you that coverage every single day. If you have not done so already, please be sure to follow and subscribe to Locked On Blue Devils for free, wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star rating and written review. We've got 5-star Friday shout-outs coming your way for those that leave a 5-star written review on the Apple Podcast platform. So take part in that. Watch the show each and every day on YouTube. Let us know in the comment section if you are an everydayer. I got to give a special shout-out to all our everydayers out there who make this a part of your routine each and every day. Like this video, share it with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe to the Locked On Blue Devils YouTube feed. Also follow us on X at LO_Blue Devils, and I'm there as well at _JJ_Jackson_. Today's show, I'm so excited to be joined by my good friend Conor O'Neill from Devils Illustrated, as we'll be talking about the recent week, the recent happenings of Duke Hoops. So let's bring him on in now. And we were just talking, Conor, it seems to be busier than the basketball season is at times, trying to keep up with all this player movement. I hope you're doing well, my friend.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. During the season, they only play like 2 or 3 games a week. Now you've got somebody leaving every day, it seems like. I think was Wednesday the first day in maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 that we didn't have news about a Duke player either leaving or returning. So it's rapid fire, man. It comes and comes.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, I guess you're right. We had the Roach decision late Tuesday evening, and then we just kind of got to sit with all of that yesterday. Had a good opportunity to discuss that on yesterday's program, and we'll continue to kind of talk about the player movement that's taken place for the Duke basketball team, notably Jeremy Roach, who has made the decision to declare for the 2024 NBA draft while maintaining his eligibility and entering the NCAA tournament. How did we get here, Conor? How did you react to it?
I think the only surprise to me is Jeremy going into the portal while also going into the NBA process again. It's worth remembering that he did it last year and came back after, gosh, I can't remember if he went to the combine or not, or was in the subset. There's like the sub combine for the guys that aren't at the whatever it is. I guess I need to re-engineer my brain a little bit. I still just can't see a guy that's a 4-year player at Duke, a 2-year captain, playing for somebody else in his last season of eligibility. And it's a possibility. I went through the whole season thinking, I kind of thought this last year, that Jeremy's ready to be a pro. Like, he is ready to, you can't just say that a guy is ready to get paid to play, because now everybody can get paid to play. But I feel like he's ready to be a professional. He's ready to put on his resume professional basketball player instead of playing and taking classes at that type of thing. So that was the only real surprise to me. I still, I guess, until he commits to somebody out of the portal and withdraws his name from the NBA process, I'm going to keep believing that he's going to be playing professional basketball in the next 6 months or whatever.
No doubt. And in a certain way, that's going to sit a little bit better with Duke basketball fans because, it's just so strange thinking of him playing elsewhere than wearing Duke across his chest. And even some of the teams that were thrown out there, I know Adam Zagoria had posted kind of the likes of St. John's, Arkansas, and Kentucky in particular, like just the idea of going to the other side when you'll be playing them the champion. Like, I can't get my brain to understand how that would be realistic or happen.
Yeah, if you're picking the 3 schools that you would probably least like to see a former Duke player play for, I'm sure Carolina is number 1. NC State might be up there now, but those 3 would probably be in the top 5 or 10, right? Like, you can either go play for John Calipari, you can go play at Kentucky, or you can go play for Rick Pitino, who I feel like Duke fans don't have all that much love for. So yeah, it's strange, and it's always strange when a guy goes into the portal and you've already got, oh, well, here are the 3 schools that he's most likely to go to. It's like, the one question I always have is, who's guessing here? Are you guessing, or is some agent telling you that's the way they feel? It's such a shell game, basically.
Yeah, a lot of politics go into things like this, and so we'll certainly see how that draft decision plays out for Mr. Roach, but we know that his time in Durham has come to a close. We've seen his final game playing for Duke. We've got other movement to kind of discuss with this Duke basketball team, and Conor, let's continue that conversation after we take our first time out here on today's episode of Locked On Blue Devils. We've all been there before, either as a player or a fan. It's halftime and the scoreboard is not looking good. You're feeling low, not sure you or your team can pull out a win. That's when you just got to dig deep, lift your head up, and say to yourself, time to get back in this game, pull off some bank heists, and take as much of my friends' money as I possibly can. That's right. I'm talking about the Smash mobile hit Monopoly Go. It lets you compete with your friends to get the most riches in the biggest empire. It's the Monopoly you love, but on your phone, anytime, with tons of new twists, including leaderboards to compare your progress to your buddies. There's so much to do. You could be playing on countless dynamic Monopoly boards, make your friends bankrupt by smashing their landmarks with the wrecking ball, charge other players rent for your iconic properties, and you can even work with your friends to crack open community chests and in tournaments to get extra rewards and climb the leaderboard. So get back out there, put your game face on, and download Monopoly Go now for free on the App Store or the Google Play Store. Monopoly Go is a proud sponsor of Locked On Blue Devils. Back on Locked On Blue Devils, JJ Jackson here today, joined by Conor O'Neill from the Devils Illustrated. I think some of the biggest news within the past week, you mentioned just kind of the consecutive day run that we had of Duke players announcing their futures, is Caleb Foster and Tyrese Proctor both announcing their intentions to return on the Brotherhood podcast. I'll continue to say I loved seeing Ryan Young back as the host of the show, despite not having eligibility, still kind of plugged in, and maybe he's got himself a career out of hosting that podcast. But yeah, big news for Proctor and Roach to be returning for this team. Or excuse me, Proctor and Foster.
Yeah, you have 2 primary ball handlers. The thing to keep in mind is the stats say that they did not play well together. I use evanmaya.com. It's really, I think, the best, at least affordable website to track like lineup combinations. And those 2 on the court together were the 28th out of 30 best duos for Duke basketball this year. They're really not efficient when they were on the court together. I think the important thing to know moving forward is they're not going to be the same players that they were last year. Evolution in depth occurs over the summer. It occurs in the preseason. So I'm really curious to see. I think it's Tyrese Proctor as your point guard, and you move Caleb Foster off the ball. I think you also have Cooper Flagg run some point forward, and that's one way to alleviate the question of who initiates offense in a tight situation. Well, maybe it's not either one of your guards. Maybe it's your wing who's the projected number 1 overall pick. So it's a good problem to have with 2 primary ball handlers coming back. I'm really curious to see how it'll shake out. But we're 6-7 months away from having actual answers in that realm.
Yeah, you got to be patient, I think, to have those questions answered. We'll have a lot of time to kind of discuss those things. Foster, in particular, of course, played just 27 games out of the 36 for Duke before his season was cut short with that injury. And if you look back at the numbers, like 40% from 3-point range. Like I know that Duke was often highlighting Jared McCain and what he was doing from the outside, a career year shooting the basketball for Jeremy Roach. But Caleb Foster, and not as many attempts, we'll be honest here, but knocked him down like a good shooter for the Duke basketball team. And so, yeah, maybe there is a little bit of a greater opportunity to have him play off ball. I know a lot of people talk about how much of a scorer he was his senior season in high school. So maybe that kind of can take the Duke team to the next level with Foster in particular.
Yeah, the twist of the knife with his injury occurring when it did was he had played an inconsistent season all year, and it looked like he had finally kind of gotten his legs under him. He played two really strong games. He had 11 points in the win over Miami, and had 8 against Wake in the loss there. Made 5 threes in both of those games in those games combined. He just it came in spurts for him, and I think Duke was better without him. I think that didn't have to do with chemistry issues or anything like that. I think this team had role definition issues for most of the year, like people, especially at the guard positions. And so I think removing one of the guards from the equation meant that, okay, they know what they need to do. They know what their roles are. You don't have 2 ball handlers on the court at the same time. One of them thinks he's running the offense. So I'm excited to see what it looks like for Caleb Foster when he has an established role and what we think is a starting role next to Tyrese Proctor in the backcourt.
Proctor comes back for another season. This time a year ago, he makes that same decision to come back and to play his sophomore season at Duke. And at that time, we're thinking this guy's going to be a projected lottery pick. That's the big buzz. I can even remember ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski being kind of one of the big reporters that threw something out about Proctor coming back. And when a Woj bomb kind of hits about a college basketball player, it's got to carry some weight, Conor. Yeah. And so here we are. We've seen how that sophomore season played out for Proctor. That's not the case. He's not in the NBA conversation, but he's coming back for Duke, and that could be a good thing. I think you've kind of been saying in recent weeks and certainly over the years that we've been having conversations that folks upset with the one-and-done era. Why are you getting upset now that players are returning and that sort of thing? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I personally am really excited that there's going to be a third-year Tyrese Proctor playing for this Duke team.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. Duke lost the 2 consistent guards that they had. They brought back the 2 inconsistent ones that they had throughout the year. Tyrese's inconsistency, though, wasn't youth like it was with Caleb Foster. I thought Tyrese had injuries and I think put too much pressure on himself to be a lottery pick that everybody thought that he would be if it came together for him. And in certain games, it did come together. Like they might lose at Louisville, the worst team in the league. They might lose that game if he doesn't have I think he had 24 points in that game. So getting Tyrese back is kind of, it's the main domino that had to happen. Like I went through the end of the season saying they had to get at least one of 4 guys back between Proctor, Roach, McCain, and Mitchell. And they got one of the 4 back. And I went in saying, like, take all of their decisions are probably under 50% that they'll be back. But if you just look at getting one of the 4 back, you'll probably do that. So I think that's where Tyrese Proctor is. I think you're looking for him to get even stronger in his upper body. I was a little surprised that when we came back and talked to him at the end of the summer or through the summer and into fall, that he wasn't thicker in his upper body. I'm looking for more growth there. I think the NBA will be looking for that also. And then he's got all the offensive tools, ball handling, distributing. You'll see an uptick in his assists just from the fact that he'll be able to throw lobs to Cooper Flagg and Kaman Malawak, and whoever else is in the front court running pick and rolls with them. Yeah, like that was one thing. Duke didn't have the pressure on the rim guy like they did with Derek Lively, and that's why Tyrese had a bunch of assists, because it's really easy to throw lobs when your center is 7'1" and can jump out of the gym and really has that lob skill. So I think you'll see a better, and I think I would hope more consistent version of Tyrese Proctor next season.
We love it. I'm excited to see what it looks like. And to your point, yeah, pump some iron, hit the gym a little bit, Proctor. Let's see what that could do for the game going into next season. All right, let's get a little overview of what next year kind of looks like. A forecast of the scholarship situation, what names have been trending, and a little bit more with Conor O'Neill when we come back for one final segment here on Locked On Blue Devils. Locked On Blue Devils here today, brought to you by our friends at Yahoo Finance. For more than 25 years, Yahoo Finance has been the brand behind every great investor. Whether you're a seasoned investor or looking for that extra guidance, Yahoo Finance gives you all the tools and data that you need in one place. They're the number one finance destination, producing a holistic look at the financial news cycle, including breaking news, original editorial perspectives, analyst ratings, independent research, customizable charts, and so much more. For comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com, the number one financial destination, a community of over 90 million users every single month. Their real strength is helping you on your way to financial success. Again, it's the number one financial destination, yahoofinance.com. That's yahoofinance.com, a proud sponsor of Locked On Blue Devils. All right, we're moving forward. I've got Conor O'Neill here with us today on Locked On Blue Devils. Before we go anywhere else, Conor, tell us a little bit about the work that you do at Devils Illustrated.
Man, we've got content rolling at Devils Illustrated these days. The basketball roster churn is probably the number one mover, but we've got spring football, we've got baseball with Duke having a top 10 team. It's a lot going on. Remember to sign up and get the premium membership. It's only about $8.33 a month. For those in states fortunate enough with the cookout, I like to say it's about the cost of a cookout tray. So yeah. I think if you can afford a cookout tray once a month, then get on over to duke.rivals.com. Not Duke, just dukerivals.com. And love to have you. Duke.rivals.com. I
love it. Absolutely. And on X at Duke Rivals. The account's good to repost kind of the Locked On Blue Devils conversations that I've got with Conor. Also our friend Jordan Mann, the co-host there of the Big J and Little J show. Good to hear those guys keep doing their thing. So excellent stuff. Let's look at next year for the Duke basketball team. And as we've posted kind of the scholarship chart on the screen for those watching us on YouTube, again, color coordinated by year in school. And we've got the key kind of there on the left side of the screen. I'm looking at this season's roster, Conor, and you've got a rundown of Roach, Blakes, Filipowski, Mitchell, Reeves, Shute, and McCain, players that had the opportunity to come back for another year, didn't quite make that decision. We've talked a lot about the guys returning, but some of these transfer portal losses, Filipowski and then McCain also going to the NBA. Were you expecting kind of this size of a turnover going into next season for Duke?
Yeah, pretty much. You knew that there was going to be a lot because at one point, I want to say the count was that there were 5 scholarships over the limit. When you're only going to lose Ryan Young and Spencer Hubbard, because look, Spencer Hubbard could have come back, but when a walk-on is put on scholarship, that's kind of the indication that he's going to be in his last season with the scholarship. Like he's not going to take a scholarship for 2 years, if you catch the drift there. Yeah, I mean, you sign 6 players and you want some latitude, flexibility. You want to be able to play in the transfer portal. And Duke really tried to play in the transfer portal with one open scholarship last year. it's going to be easier to play in the transfer portal with 3 open scholarships. And that's just kind of the reality of where college basketball is right now. And so, yeah, that's the simple answer here. Yeah, I did expect it. And it also, there was also the fact that it's felt like this was a 2-year cycle for John Shire. In his first 2 years, they were tied together as soon as the announcements came last spring that Proctor, Mitchell, and Flip were not going into the NBA process. They weren't even going to test the waters. They were just coming back. That lined it up as if it was going to be, there's going to be a first 2 years of John's tenure, and then it's going to go to another kind of, there's a little bit of a break here, and then we're going to get to the third year of John's tenure, and this third year might stand alone.
Right. No, and then you look at this basketball season in particular, you could start to see those pieces. And as we were showing throughout the course of the season, when there was an overage of scholarships, if people are making decisions to come back for another year, I'm thinking back to like January when Malawak is on visits to Durham and then ultimately decides to commit and expand again. That freshman recruiting class for Duke, it's like, yeah, some guys got to go here to kind of make all of this work.
Yeah, this is this isn't a rec league basketball program. Yeah, you've got scholarship limits. Like It's just you can only have 13 of them, and it's just the way it works.
Yeah, no doubt. So three scholarships to work with. I think the question a lot of people want to know, obviously who, and there have been some names kind of attached to the program. But I think what is also important, like what type of player, what type of role would be needed to really help the Duke team out.
Yeah, so I think the basic ones, and this is with Malik Brown, it's clear as day. The forward from Syracuse is on his visit, I think right now ish. I think you're looking to add somebody that can play the 4, maybe give you some minutes at the 5. And you're looking for a veteran guard. You're looking for somebody that can play off the ball. You're almost looking for a Jeremy Roach type of player, somebody who's going to be efficient, but somebody who understands their role and can come off the bench and give you some impact minutes. And look, those are. It's hard for Duke to find the sweet spot in portal recruiting because you're bringing in these massive classes with these great freshmen, and some experienced college players don't want to look at, okay, are you going to actually play me, or are you going to play Isaiah Evans in that spot? Are you going to play Con Newpel in the spot? So it's a lot more complicated than Duke is Duke. Duke has 3 open scholarships. Duke can throw money around and throw their weight around in the transfer portal. It's a lot of it. There's a lot more narrow of a pool for Duke than you would assume.
Yeah, it's just one of those reminders that always stinks. Again, there's one basketball in the sport. Not everybody could be taking these shots. There's only 40 minutes of game time that could be allotted throughout your roster and that sort of thing. But yeah, I'd also go there, kind of to your point, using the word veteran. Is that important? Because, looking at this chart and looking at kind of this color code that's been built out by Locked On, there's not a lot of upperclassmen and kind of experienced college basketball players on this team. It'll be a very, very youthful group.
Yeah, I think you've got to get a veteran presence. If not, don't even use UConn as an example, because that's kind of unfair. Like, they've won the last 2 national championships. Use NC State as the example. Like, DJ Horn is in his 5th year. DJ Burns was in his, I think, 6th year of college basketball this past season. Like, these guys are old. Like, college basketball is an older game than it was. And look, that's going to change somewhat because we're cycling out of the guys that are in their 5th season of playing. Like, the COVID years are running out. But you're still going to need to get old through the transfer portal. You're still going to need to get a veteran presence by adding some guy who has maybe played for 3 years in the America East, or, spent 2 years in the AAC and spent last year in the A10. Like, it's just that type of thing is what you need to have in college basketball to win games. I don't think we're going to see another team with, I think I said this the other day. I don't think you're going to see a team with like 4 freshmen in their top 6 of scoring win a national championship. I think those days are over. I think the transfer portal allows teams to seek out more older players and kind of stack their rosters with guys that know college basketball on a deeper level. And that's going to lead to your older teams are the ones that are going to be successful.
Yeah. Someone else who knows college basketball on a deeper level is you, my friend. And I really want people to go check out your work, follow along with all this recruiting news. You're going to be up to speed on top of all of it. It's fun on social media from time to time, Conor. You got these stories in the bank. You're ready to go. You're just kind of waiting on some things to become official. And that's why people need to go check you out on X at ConorO'Neal_DI.
I appreciate it, JJ.
Follow along. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, and we'll do this again soon. Thank you for the time once again, Conor.
Sounds good, man.
All right, that's Conor O'Neal from Devils Illustrated. Once again, Duke.Rivals.com, and follow them on X at Duke Rivals. That'll do it for our show here today. Excited to see any more player movement that may be coming from Duke over the next few days. As always, go Duke. I'll talk to you tomorrow. My name is JJ Jackson. Thank you and good day.